Hi and welcome back to GM Details. In today's video I'm taking a look at the Kebtek Tools pressure washer gun and foam lance. Car detailing accessories are on the rise, and with so many different types on the market, how do you know which one to choose? You could ask Google, and you're presented with more sponsored links and sponsored reviews from websites to YouTube videos, one of which ironically will be this one now. So if you're in the market for a new gun and lance, or just a new gun, or a new lance, then this is a video for you. Or if you're looking for the easiest PIR calculation on YouTube, then keep watching. Full disclosure, Kebtek have sent me this kit free of charge, but they've no influence in the editing or script of the video. I'm going to give my honest feedback on the products, good or bad, as always. So currently it's being sold via Amazon, which is excellent as you've got Amazon's excellent customer service behind you, giving you peace of mind that what you buy will do as it's supposed to, and if not, they'll sort it. That's my experience of Amazon anyway. If something was to go wrong, I'd rather try and get my money back from Amazon before attempting from Temu or AliExpress, or even eBay sometimes can be difficult, but Amazon's the place to buy this kit, either as a single unit or a pair like this. What you see in the picture is what you'll get in the kit, aimed primarily at Karcher users with the hose adapter, but I'll tell you about the connections a little later in the video. You get the foam lance, the gun, 5 spray nozzles which are stamped with the correct size of orifice for up to a Karcher K7. It even comes with a replacement 1.1mm orifice for the lance if you're using a K2 or K3 pressure washer or an equivalent model. The Amazon rating is currently 4.1. I can only imagine that will improve as time goes on, as these are brand new products to the market. Starting with the trigger gun, or often referred to as a stubby gun, these have kind of become the detailer's essential upgrade to a pressure washer, as it means you can get close to the wheel arches, wheels, door shuts, engine bays, etc. without having to keep getting up to rinse products, and when you're my age, that is an absolute game changer. In certain circumstances, it also allows greater control of how you rinse products off, because you can control not only the pressure but the flow rate with the different nozzles supplied. I've found that some of the trigger guns are just made better than others. I used to have this generic one 5 years ago with a swivel base, and after about a year the swivel became so sticky it barely worked, and the trigger itself gave me so much trigger fatigue I had cramps for hours after using it. This is one of the features I found amazing with the Kebtek gun, as it's got a little button under the trigger that locks it open, so when you're rinsing the car there's no effort at all to keep the water flowing. That's just the water pressure alone holding that gun to my hand. Obviously I don't advise not holding the gun. It's a very cool feature that should be on every gun in my opinion, and for that reason alone I'd prefer using this one to my new MTM gun. So we've seen the gun rotates. It's supplied from Amazon with the M22 thread Karcher adapter, and I've found other adapters are available for Bosch, Lavor and Nilfisk for around £10. Don't worry, I'll put all those links to what you might need in the video description so you can check them out later on. Some of you might want to know how much the gun weighs, so I'll check that out now. The gun on its own is weighing in at 613 grams, with the adapter it's 686 grams. Compare that with the MTM SGS 35 gun, that weighs in at 859 grams with the Karcher adapter. So I hope that's helpful to someone. I think that about covers all there is with the gun, other than to say it's extremely well balanced. The swivel connection is silky smooth, and you can see inside the gun there it's a brass pipework in the upper half and either stainless steel or some kind of zinc alloy for the shaft inside the handle, with a brass 1/4 inch quick connection to attach your nozzles to, or the foam lance. You see what I did there? Seamless transition. The Kebtek foam lance, as with the newest MJJC lance, they seem to have spent all the development money on the top half and chucked any old bottle on the bottom. As nice as it looks, it's a PET bottle, which means if you store anything alkaline in it, even overnight, it's likely to crack open, and that's without Keith with cars dropping it from his upstairs window. It's a real shame, as the 1 litre capacity, screw fit and 51cm wide mouth opening all fit the bill perfectly, and they've probably gone for the PET plastic as it's a clearer container and easier to see the measurements. But PET is quite brittle, and if you do happen to accidentally drop it with a full tank, it's more than likely going to smash. An HDPE bottle would have been a much better alternative for this lance in my opinion. In the last foam lance video, a few comments mentioned the Bear Force lance, but that too seems to have a PET bottle, so being a similar price, around £30, I do prefer the top half of the Kebtek. It's almost a Bakelite type of plastic, it's thick, it feels excellent quality, and generally feels really good to use. The screw top thread is easy enough to attach to the lance head, but in terms of quality again, an MJGC lance has it with the bayonet fitting, but as this is half the price of an MJGC, sacrifices have to be made somewhere. But one or two of the comments on Amazon mention the screw fitting being weak and breaking, but I've had this now for a couple of months and the connection is fine if you take your time to line up the start of the thread and don't over tighten it. The stainless steel 1/4 inch connection is of the same standard as an MJGC with no need for any PTFE tape. Just screw it on hand tight and it's self-sealing. Inside you've got easy access to the orifice screw if you want to change it to the supplied 1.1mm, and as you can see it's all brass inside. The foam barrel has a single pin to push through for maintenance and gives you access to the aluminium foam angle blades and the foaming gauze, and it all feels very akin to the MJGC Pro, except this feels better as there's a good bit of resistance to the split barrel. You can turn the spray orientation easily without changing the fan, and equally you can move the fan spread without interfering with the orientation, and the mixing screw cap on top can adjust the amount of water flowing through the lance. Just one thing to work out now when you get a new lance, and that's its panel impact ratio. If you don't know what panel impact ratio is, it's simply how much of the concentration of cleaning chemical actually lands on the car panel after being sprayed through a foam lance. And two brands which have both featured on the channel before are Garage Therapy and Built Hamber. Both of these snow foams recommend you use panel impact ratio to calculate the most effective dilution, so here's how to do it. You will need a set of scales to weigh in kilograms, big enough to take your bucket. Weigh your empty bucket at this point and take a note of it. Mine's is 1 kilogram. A pen and paper to take notes of your test. The snow foam lance that you're going to test, obviously, and I use a separate 500ml jug, but you can use the measurements on the side of the foam cannon if you like. And that's it, told you it was easy. So fill up to the 500ml level with water. Now it has to be the right amount, so take your time with this bit. I add a tiny bit of food dye into the water so I can see it in the foam lance bottle easier, but it's not necessary. Don't try this with snow foam, by the way, you won't get an accurate calculation. As we're not testing how good it foams, we're testing how much water is being picked up by the foam lance pickup tube, which on this lance is a rather excellent silicone tube with a weighted filter at the end. Sometimes this can affect the draw rate from the bottle, but we'll see how we get on leaving it on. Connect up your trigger gun to the lance and make sure your dilution dial on top is set fully clockwise or fully to the minus setting, and dispense the full amount of the water in the foam lance bottle into the empty bucket. Just watch here how effective that silicone flexible pickup tube is with the weighted filter. It's exactly where it needs to be when tilted and gets every last sip of water from the bottle. I think every foam lance should have one of these rather than that fixed plastic straw that most of them have. Now weigh the bucket again. This one, as you can see, is 7.5 kilograms. So you would write down the weight that your scales show minus the empty bucket. Now to recap, 6.5 litres is the total amount from the water coming from the pressure washer and the 500 millilitres in the lance bottle mixing together. If I had a litre of water, it would simply double to 13 litres because the foam cannon draws the water from the bottle at a constant rate. There's absolutely no need to do this test with a litre in your lance. That's just a waste of water, as I'll explain later when it comes to the foam dilution. So we know how much water we've collected from the lance. How to work that golden PIR calculation they ask for in the bottle is simple now. Open your calculator app on your phone, take your figure of how much water was dispensed, which was 7.5 kilograms, minus the weight of the bucket, which was 1 kilograms, gives us 6.5 kilograms. We need to calculate panel impact ratio in millilitres. So 6.5 kilograms becomes 6,500 millilitres. That's because the weight of 1 litre of water is 1 kilogram or 1,000 millilitres. So 6.5 kilograms of water is 6.5 litres. Take your 6,500 millilitres, multiply it by whichever the PIR is that you want to calculate. Let's say 2%. So multiply 6,500 times 2 and hit the percent button on your calculator. Then press equals to get 130. So 2% PIR for a 500 millilitre solution is 130 millilitres of snow foam and 370 millilitres of water. That means exactly 2% strength of the foam is going to be applied, and it's specific to your particular foam lance and pressure washer. Everyone else might have different results. That's why you do this test, so that you can achieve the best results from the product you're using that the manufacturer has tested and recommended to you, which helps to avoid wasting product, under-diluting and disappointing results. I do hope that was easy to understand, and thanks to Mark from Sparkling Autos for coming up with such an easy way to work it out. We miss your videos on YouTube, mate, and I hope you'll be back soon. So the first test was Garage Therapy 1 Snow Foam version 2 at 1% PIR. The calculation, as you can see on screen, is now exactly half what the 2% example is. As long as you have the total amount of water it takes to empty the lance bottle, you can work out any PIR for it. I'm applying it with the Kebtek foam lance and gun combination using my Karcher K-Silent pressure washer with the fan being open around 45 degrees, and that gives you quite a wide coverage. Garage Therapy V2 snow foam isn't a mega thick dry foam, so this consistency is perfect for this lance. You can see when it's over applied it doesn't bulk up and the top layer just flows over the previous layer and settles to a fairly wet clingy foam, which is perfect for wetting the dirt and attacking that greasy layer of traffic film in winter. This isn't a review of the foam today, and I wouldn't apply it in this way normally, as it's clearly a wasted product. I'm trying to demonstrate how the fan angle works and demonstrating how much pressure is behind it when I narrow the lance nozzle down. I reckon you could clean the eaves of the house with this lance. Summertime isn't the best for showing the advantages of snow foam panel impact ratio. To be honest, I use more pH neutral foams in summer at a standard 9:1 dilution. That's an easy 50ml of product in 450ml of water. Incidentally, does anyone know what PIR 50ml of snow foam in 450ml of water is? No, I didn't think so. It's 0.77% PIR. So for all the brands telling you to use 10:1 as a dilution in your lance, that's already making the product 11 times weaker before it came out your lance, which can then dilute it by up to a further 20 times depending on the flow rate of the pressure washer. It's no wonder some brands have turned to adding colours in their snow foams to attract people to buy them, because most of them have absolutely no cleaning power whatsoever. But it does make great content for TikTok and Instagram Reels. I was listening to a podcast recently with Maz from Garage Therapy talking about the chemistry behind the products and how the surfactants in the snow foam are designed to work fast but also non-caustic. And they need to be, because this snow foam has really thinned out at just over 2.5 minutes. So to avoid the snow foam drying in the sun, I'm going to give it another 30 seconds and start rinsing it off. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? Summer is great for being out cleaning your car in the warm days, but absolutely rubbish for showing how effective a snow foam is. So back to the Kebtek gun with its supplied interchangeable nozzles. I used the green 25 degrees and now using the white 40 degrees. The nozzles are stamped 030, so are perfect for pressure washers up to 140 bar, so anything up to a Karcher K4, an Ava P40 or 50, Nilfisk Core 140 and the Bosch Aquatech 135 or 140 machines, to name some of the most popular ones. In the interest of equality, I'll quickly show you the V2 of Bilthamber's Touchless. It's now double concentrated, so they don't recommend using it above 2% PIR max for winter and minimum 0.5% PIR for summer. So it's very important you do work out how much you'll need. I'm going to go 1% as I did with Garage Therapy's one snow foam, just to compare them. Bilthamber Touchless Snow Foam at 1% PIR, using only 65ml of product, delivers a lovely creamy consistency of snow foam, very similar to Garage Therapy. The Kebtek foam lance has got a traditional single foaming gauze, so it doesn't produce overly thick dry foam, making it perfect for snow foam, foaming sealants and pre-washes like traffic film removers and citrus pre-wash, even foaming that shampoo if you're that way inclined. Observing that just past the 2.5 minute mark that the foam is behaving pretty much exactly the same as the Garage Therapy foam. If you want a longer dwell, you can always apply another layer directly on top. It won't affect the foam at all. It's wet enough to blend perfectly with the surfactants already on the car. Okay, so we're now just past the 4 minute mark and time to remove the remaining foam residue. I've gone again for the green 25 degree nozzle and demonstrating how good that button under the trigger is at holding the trigger open. The trouble with that is how you hold the gun, usually with your fingers around the trigger, isn't it? And the slightest touch resets the trigger to release. It's not an overly complicated system or problematic in use, it's just worthy of mentioning as a useful feature, and right at the end of the clip you'll see just how easy it is to disengage the trigger lock. So both foams at 1% panel impact ratio worked perfectly well with this lance, and both the gun and the lance performed brilliantly, and have been doing so for the last few months. I'm not going to show you every conceivable dilution and how it foams, as I've got the rest of the car to clean, so I'll leave you with my final thoughts. So what works well? So the lance delivers quality foam with just the right consistency and spreads nicely across the car without having two pressure jets of watery foam top and bottom of the spray breaking up the layers. I love the silicone pickup tube and the weighted filter, getting every last drop of foam from the lance. The gun feels a weighty quality, yet it's a lot lighter than an MTM gun. Its swivel hose connection is silky smooth, and with that trigger lock it sees me reaching for that gun every time now. It's an absolutely solid budget package, coupled with Amazon's customer service, so you've got nothing to worry about. It's the perfect upgrade from the standard lens from a pressure washer for beginners and enthusiasts of all levels. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it of some use. If you want any further information on the products used in the video, I'll put the links in the description for you to check out. If you want to see more videos like this from GM Details, then please consider subscribing and leaving a comment below, as it really helps YouTube to get the video to more like-minded people like you, so I need you guys to help. Thank you so much for your continued support, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next video. Take care. Bye.